here outside the White House these days, there are plenty of Trump supporters, but few have heard of one of his inspirations, President William McKinley.
I know that he was a great president for his time, but not much about President McKinley, unfortunately, sorry.
No
but I have heard of it.
Have you heard of President McKinley?
Yes, but I don't know what his tariffs were.
Yet Donald Trump referenced McKinley in his inauguration speech.
President McKinley made our country very rich through tariffs and through talent.
But many historians say McKinley is a bad role model for the modern era.
Following the McKinley tariffs, we got the Great Depression of the 1890s. Woodrow Wilson in the early 20th century lowered tariffs. Republicans raised them again in the 1920s and 1930s, and we got the Great Depression.
McKinley tariffs and his decision to peg the US dollar to gold made him a favorite of Wall Street, railroad tycoons, and many urban workers. It was during McKinley's tenure that the US became also a de facto empire. The parallels to Donald Trump's designs on Greenland, the Panama Canal, and even Canada echoed the imperial bravado of the 19th century. McKinley also sent troops to Qing dynasty China, joining forces with European powers to help suppress the Boxer Rebellion and force unfair treaties on Beijing.
McKinley was the first imperialistic American president. And while Donald Trump pretends to be, an America First president, he obviously has imperialistic ambitions. He wants to take over Greenland. He wants to re-seize the Panama Canal. It was not a happy time for the country. Our seizure of the Philippines led to a bloody, awful, horrible, racist war in the Philippines to put down a liberation nationalist movement there that killed at least 200,000 Filipino citizens.
McKinley also ushered in a generation of Republican dominance of Congress and the White House, which wouldn't end until the Great Depression era of the 1930s and the election of Democrat Franklin Delano Roosevelt. History has not been kind to McKinley. Trump's attempts to make America 19th century again could be judged even more harshly.
I'm not an economist, but I'm an historian, and the effects of high tariffs have been to clog international trade, to undermine supply routes, which are essential to keeping prices down. And in McKinley's time, we were much less involved in the global economy. We're 3 to 5 times more involved in the global economy today, at least, than we were back then.
Donald Trump and William McKinley also share a more morbid connection, both the subjects of assassination attempts. Of course, Donald Trump survived his and went on to win election. William McKinley had already been re-elected for his second term, but a few months later he was shot by an anarchist. He did survive the day, but succumbed to his wounds 9 days later, to be succeeded by his then Vice President, Theodore Roosevelt. Nathan King, CGTN, at the White House.